Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, get this. Did you know that ounce for ounce, human bone is actually stronger than solid steel? It's completely wild. Let's dive right into this. I want you to imagine looking at a towering, state-of-the-art skyscraper. From the outside you see the shiny glass facade, the bright lights, all the bustling floors inside. But beneath all of that superficial beauty, there's a hidden, incredibly resilient steel framework that literally makes the entire structure possible. Well, today, we're going to break down the ultimate skyscraper, and that is the human body. We're going to look at the scaffold that holds us up, how it actually works, and how it seamlessly integrates with the rest of our biological building.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The 11 organ systems, 2. Introducing the skeletal system, 3. The axial skeleton, 4. The appendicular skeleton, and finally, 5. Systemic integration.
But before we can start looking at the specific floors and steel beams of our bodily skyscraper, we've got to understand our blueprint. Anatomy is the study of the structure of the human body. This ranges all the way from the microscopic, like cells and tissues, right up to the macroscopic, highly visible organs. It is literally the fundamental architectural schematic of you. And understanding this basic structure is the absolute key to understanding how we function every single day.
And when we unroll that macroscopic schematic, we discover something truly amazing. Our entire, incredibly complex human body, literally everything you are and everything you do, is organized into just 11 primary organ systems.
Honestly, it's beautiful how these distinct systems collaborate. Think of the integumentary system, which is our skin, as the glass exterior of that skyscraper. The muscular system acts like the pulleys and elevators, creating all the movement. The nervous system? Well, that's our electrical grid and control center. The cardiovascular system handles all the plumbing and transport. And the skeletal system provides the essential rigid support for the whole shebang. No single system works in isolation, you know. They all constantly communicate and support each other to maintain our physiology and, well, keep us alive.
All right, let's move into section 1, introducing the skeletal system, the framework of the human body. This brilliantly illustrates a massive evolutionary leap in how nature solves the problem of structure. Just look at this comparison. An exoskeleton, like you'd see on a crab, a lobster, or an insect, is an external, hard encasement. It provides fantastic armor, sure, but because it's acellular and rigid, the animal actually has to shed it entirely just to grow. Can you imagine? Humans and other vertebrates possess an endoskeleton. These are internal, hard, mineralized structures buried deep within our soft tissue. The huge advantage here is that our framework actually grows right along with us.
Which brings us to a foundational bit of trivia that every architect of the human body really needs to know. How many bones are actually inside the adult human body? Take a quick second, think about it, and lock in your guess.
The answer is 206. Boom. Now, if you look at a baby, they actually start out with around 300 bones, but many of those fuse together as we grow, so by adulthood, we settle on 206 named bones. And remember, these 206 bones aren't just sitting there doing nothing. They form the very foundation that physically supports and interacts with all those other organ systems we just talked about. Instead of reading you a massive, boring textbook list, we're going to categorize these to make them incredibly easy to understand and remember. So those 206 bones are elegantly split into two major functional groups. First, we have the axial skeleton, which makes up the central core of our body and contains 80 bones. Then we've got the appendicular skeleton, which makes up our limbs and the girdles that attach them to the body, containing the remaining 126 bones.
But right before we break those two groups down, we really need to correct a super common misconception. Bones are not just dry, dead sticks holding you up like a scarecrow. This is absolutely crucial. Bones are multitasking, living workhorses. Yes, of course, they provide support, protect our organs, and allow for movement. But they also act as a vital chemical bank, storing essential minerals like calcium and phosphorus. Even more incredibly, the marrow inside your bones is actually a biological factory producing your red and white blood cells. How cool is that?
Okay, on to section 2, the axial skeleton, or as I like to call it, the central vault.
This vault provides literally impenetrable armor for our most delicate organ systems. Up top, you've got 28 skull bones protecting the nervous system's command center. This includes the cranial bones shielding your brain, your facial bones, and even the 6 tiny auditory ossicles deep inside your ears. In the neck, there's a singular little bone called the hyoid bone. Moving down, the vertebral column uses 26 individual bones to completely armor the spinal cord. And finally, the thoracic cage uses 25 bones, that's your sternum, and 24 ribs, to create a physical shield around your cardiovascular and respiratory systems, keeping your heart and lungs totally safe. Notice the absolute architectural genius of the spine shape here. If your spine was just a perfectly straight rod, it would literally shatter under the weight of just walking around. Instead, the vertebral column acts like a spring. Its specific concave and convex curves naturally absorb shock while massively increasing both its strength and flexibility. It is a textbook perfect example of how an anatomical structure directly dictates its function.
Moving right along to Section 3, the appendicular skeleton, the cranes and levers.
While the axial skeleton is all about heavy-duty protection, these 126 appendicular bones are all about locomotion and manipulating our environment. Look at the beautiful symmetry we have going on here. We've got 4 bones in the pectoral girdles, that's your collarbones and shoulder blades, which attach our arms. From there, we have exactly 30 bones in each arm and hand, making 60 total. Down below, 2 strong hip bones form the pelvic girdle. And just like the arms, this anchors exactly 30 bones in each leg and foot. It's just perfectly balanced.
Now, to make these biological cranes and levers actually work, we need something called an articulation. An articulation is simply any place at which 2 bones are joined together. This is just the formal anatomical term for a joint. And it's exactly how these 126 appendicular bones connect to each other to allow for all our dynamic, complex movements. And this really brilliantly illustrates how bone shape isn't just structural. It responds directly to biological fitness and evolutionary needs over time. The pelvic girdle bears the massive weight of our entire upper body, but notice the distinct morphological differences based on reproductive needs. The male pelvis is typically narrower with a heart-shaped inlet. The female pelvis, however, has been shaped over countless generations of evolution to be lighter, wider, and shallower with a much larger oval-shaped inlet specifically to enable successful childbirth. Nature is just incredibly smart like that. Moving down from the pelvis, we find the femur, or the thigh bone. The femur holds the heavyweight title for being the longest, heaviest, and strongest bone in the entire human body. Its massive, dense size is a direct response to physics and organ system integration. The powerful muscles of your lower limbs exert immense mechanical force on this specific bone, meaning it has to be incredibly dense to handle the stress. It supports the entire weight of our bodily skyscraper against gravity, all while absorbing the kinetic shock of running, jumping, and walking.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 4, systemic integration, the body in motion.
Remember those 11 organ systems we looked at way back at the start? Well, the skeletal system is deeply, systematically integrated into almost all of them. It teams up with the muscular system by using tendons to attach muscle directly to the bone, creating the mechanical leverage needed for us to move around. It teams up with the nervous system, providing a physical, bony armor for the super delicate brain and spinal cord. And it teams up with the cardiovascular system, acting as a literal factory inside the bone marrow to actively pump out fresh blood cells for circulation. You simply cannot have one without the others.
Which leaves us with this final kind of provocative thought to chew on. If your 206 bones are constantly building your blood supply, regulating and storing vital minerals, repairing microfractures on the fly, communicating with your muscular system, and actively adapting their thickness to the physical stresses of your daily life, is your skeleton actually just one giant living, breathing organ? It completely reframes how we view the seemingly rigid structure inside of us, doesn't it? It's an active, dynamic partner in your survival. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I really hope this helps you appreciate the incredible architecture of you.